want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
It's not college basketball. It's clobbering time. Let's get ready to rumble. Feel the fire since the rare. It's mine, so only know how to wear.
What is up, Friday Nighters? Welcome back to another episode of Just Another Friday Night. I am one of your two hosts, CM Chuck.
I'm Double A, everyone.
That's Adamantium Adam, guys. Double A, how the hell are you, bud?
Good.
How was your week? How was
It went by quick.
the
I'm not
heat?
gonna lie, it went by pretty damn quick. The mornings were all right.
Okay.
Cloudy, a little windy, so it wasn't too bad. So I got to get out most of the time before the heat came.
When we have a little bit of wind, it's not too bad. You
It's
know
not
what I
too
mean?
bad.
But yeah,
No, but you can feel the humidity though.
yeah. The
Real
Texas
bad.
heat has arrived.
Yeah.
If you're here in South Texas where we are, and it is like was in the hundreds, like at least 3 days or 3 or 4.
I can't remember.
It was quite a bit though.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to come to Texas to get out of the cold, now's the time because it's very hot here. So Pedro Lopez in the house, even beating Toy Mafia out the gate, which is an unusual one. Pedro, how the hell are you? Who's that good looking gal you got going on there? Let us know who the little avatar is, because she's good looking. Glad to have you here, bud. Pedro also joined us on Wednesday in the Collective Weekly After Dark show, which was a fun discussion. Double A, Adrenalize me. Anything that stood out to you in the world of pop culture news this week that struck you in particular to discuss?
Let me see. I know we're kind of talking about it, and I feel like there was, but I can't remember.
Yeah. Pedro says he's good, and he says that's Carly Gray.
I
Carly
don't
Gray.
know.
Carly Gray. Okay, I'm gonna look her up. I think what came to mind for me was that our San Antonio Spurs got the number 2 lottery pick.
That's right.
So that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? I think the Dallas Mavericks got number 1. Pedro brings that piece of news up there. We definitely got that to discuss too. Did you watch it, Double A? And if so, what do you think? Okay.
No.
Double A sometimes avoids the trailers because he wants to be surprised.
Way too damn much.
Yeah, they
on
give
these
away
trailers.
quite a bit. Yeah, they give away quite a bit.
So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stay clear.
And it seems that the more each trailer comes out, the more things you do see.
Yes,
so.
that's why I'm like, no. So every time I hear there's a new trailer coming out, I'm like, okay, I'm not seeing it. So.
Yeah, I watched it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought it was cool. It got me more pumped up, more excited.
I mean, I'm already
what's to come.
pumped. So
yeah, no doubt. Anytime for me that there's Superman, that's my guy. So I'm going to really be excited for it. It's just don't mention the Dallas Mavericks. No problem, Pedro. That'll be it.
like,
That may be the last time you ever hear that name on here. So I was like, we get sure, fire them all. You know what I mean? So we're Spurs fans, so
I don't like the Mavericks.
Yeah, they are quite meaningless to us in our realm.
Yes, they are.
The other thing that was cool, and I saw you posted Double A in our group, the Friday Night Faithful, was the Spider Noir. You know
what do you think about that?
It's gonna be a show, right?
I have no idea, really. I really didn't look. I just saw it was like a trailer, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
everything.
I think it's cool. I mean, like it's cool that
why that one though?
I don't
Was
know.
that one so popular?
I mean, I don't think he was as
Seriously?
popular as like the Spider Punk.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
seem to,
Like, why
love
that
the Spider
one?
Punk.
Because
Yeah,
it's Nicolas Cage.
I think maybe that. Yeah, maybe that you can get him. You know what I mean? Man, I didn't grab a picture. But speaking of Nick Cage, what do you think about him? He's going to be John Madden?
Him and Bell. I'm like, is this a fucking joke? Like,
also, that's going to be a movie?
Yeah, on Amazon. I'm like, Christian Bell's going to be Al Davis and Nicolas Cage is going to be John Madden. I'm like, oh my God.
What is Christian Bell know about American football? He's a Welshman. I think he's
he's played our vice president once. He's done what that Ford versus Ferrari. I don't know what he played there.
Do you feel like Christian Bell wants to be what Gary Oldman is currently? Sure. This kind of like man of every role.
Because I mean, even the fighter.
Yeah, he's
Dickie Ward's brother. Yeah,
and he the machinist. He likes to like lose weight and gain weight.
Yeah, I know.
Prosthetics.
He's probably like, you know what? I got my Academy Award. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want.
I'm Batman. I was already that.
I'm like two crazies. That's why I throw off right off the bat. Like, great, two crazies in a fucking movie together.
I wonder what they were like on set, right? Like, wow, like so.
Because like Bell's intense and Cage, Cage and I don't know.
So this will be a story about the era of the Raiders you like, right?
Yeah, which I do.
Well, is he still the owner out there?
Well, he passed.
He passed,
so
right.
the son is the one in charge. The one
This is
looks
the guy that famously had that crazy haircut, right?
When I
Like
always
the-
said it looks like Billy Kincaid.
Yeah, Billy Kincaid from Spawn. And he sure did, man. I was like, whoa, what
I
a
was like,
what a
wow.
strange looking guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
but,
they have is their story pretty like,
I mean,
pretty
the
good
Raiders
history?
in the 70s, I mean, they were the fucking, you know, the rough team, the dirty team.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna fuck you up team.
Bounties was Madden doing bounties?
Maybe he was, you know. So, but I mean, man,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It looks funny. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I'll check it out. I like a football movie, you know. Sometimes
It's not going to be
you know,
air. Put it that way. It's not
Okay,
going
it's
to
not
be
gonna
the
be-
Michael Jordan.
I was gonna say
Nike story.
sometimes I learn shit from these sports movies that I didn't know. Then I realized this is not based on real life.
I don't know.
I thought I was learning everything about the Lakers, and I watched Showtime. I was like, oh, this seems like it's I got a lot of history here. And I was like, you were like, no, it's kind of inaccurate.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would say it's kind of accurate.
Yeah.
That's probably how they really were, you know, without really saying it.
They don't want to admit, right? Magic
they
doesn't
were
wanna admit.
denouncing it. Yeah, they denounced that whole thing, but come on now.
I'm like, Magic, we know you
God.
got the HIV, brother.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
come on,
like-
you can't say you wasn't fucking. You was fucking, bro. We
Yeah.
know you was fucking.
Like, seriously, I thought all the kids were from him and Cookie. I didn't know he had that one kid.
Oh
outside,
wow. Damn, I
You
didn't know
know,
that either.
early in the relationship. So
The man could pass though. He was like,
oh yeah, and I like how they showed I like how they portrayed him, like where he's like, you know, intense and
yeah.
you know, all that kind of stuff. So
Oh,
yeah, no kidding.
Batman and Superman. There you go. Finally
Yeah, no
got, you
kidding.
know, world's finest right there.
we're trying it. Oh my goodness.
Well, you know, always interesting, right? Because you know, you get to see
Jeez.
some takes, whatever. So I'm curious how that will go. That's kind of cool. Yeah, and then the Spider-Noir thing, I think is going to be a show. It's going to be on on
show.
Disney Plus.
Okay.
I'm down for it. You know, I thought Nick
Sure.
Cage did good as
Sure.
the
It's
voice.
kind of just weird. It's like, wow, that one.
You know what, Double A, I like? Hey, you're doing a Spider-Noir thing and you're calling it Spider-Noir. And it's like, whatever. Like, it's not fucking whatever Sony gives us that is like Ben Parker, the EMT, and then this weird looking spider guy and Madam Web. And it's like Morbius, but there's no Spider-Man, and Craven, but there's no Spider-Man, and Rhino, but he's
The
a
Rhino.
mob boss or some
Yeah.
shit or whatever the fuck it was. A
You know,
tech
too,
guy.
where they call me the Rhino?
I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So if this is straight up like, hey, this is Peter Parker in like
Which
a
is
noir
surprising, right?
environment.
That it's not gonna be on Sony.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they're probably just like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I mean, you know, the other day I was watching the video of where Lucas signs over to Disney. You know, he signs the thing for the $4 billion the thing, and I'm like, and there you go, man. He's got. I mean, he doesn't look like particularly happy about it. I mean, but it's like you just made $4 billion, man.
I mean, would
The
you? I
stroke
mean,
of
that's
your
your whole
pen.
creation and everything. You know, I mean, would you even know you're like, I'm never gonna be. I'm probably not gonna do any more with the property, but still, it's kind of like, there you go. It's still a big cash cow.
If
you
you
know?
have guys though, Double A, like if you have guys at the time, like you know, Filoni that had done great stuff at the time with the Clone Wars.
I mean, he
You-
trusted
you-
Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Filoni was going to be there. Favreau was obviously going to be there. So, I mean,
Do you have to know when your project has outgrown you?
oh, yeah.
Because Star Wars
I'm pretty
clearly
damn
outgrew
sure.
Lucas.
Yeah, it
And-
outgrew him back in the original trilogy.
yeah, the craving
know?
for content is there. Like, look, even when we talk about wrestling, right? I mean, like wrestling kind of outgrew McMahon, obviously. You know,
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's we got past bra and
But-
panties matches and all that. Not that you know, as at the time, you know what I mean? Like, could not say it was not enjoyable. I mean, but you know, here we are seeing that these women that are female wrestlers are athletic. Obviously, Stephanie's there. Triple H is like, you know, running the show. It's like, you know, it's kind of outgrown McMahon a little bit. You know, your creation becomes bigger than you.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean, he had wanted to do so much stuff, but it was not going to be possible. Because I remember he did want to do a live action Star Wars series at one point.
oh right, yeah.
Yeah, remember
Yeah,
he
George.
had talks about doing like a lot of shit, but
Mhm.
I'm pretty damn sure by that point it was kind of like, I just can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't get to this and still figure out what everyone else is doing,
Mhm.
you know, comic wise, book wise, TV show wise, cartoon wise. He's probably like, man, it's already too spread out, and I can't keep going, you know. So yeah, I'm pretty sure.
and I think we're gonna kind of talk about it tonight, Double A. But as much as you know, we love, you know, I think we love George. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Fuck yeah.
we love George. I do
Oh,
not
yeah.
think that he could have given us what we're gonna talk about tonight.
No, but even if he did, he would have even had to have picked like his own kind of directors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He would have had to have delegated.
Yeah,
And I don't know if he would have wanted to do that at all.
yeah.
You know, but I mean, man, he could have easily been the Kevin Feige. You know, he could have easily been like the guy behind his own studio and okay, this is what I want here.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want here.
Right.
So I don't want any of y'all's input.
Yeah.
I just want you guys to execute how
But
I'm talking about.
what's interesting though that I find double A is exactly what you sent me. You know what I mean? It's Tony Gilroy, right?
Yes.
Tony Gilroy's comments about how Kathleen Kennedy kind of, or I sent to you.
Yeah, that one you said.
How she kind of protected the show. How he was like, I want to do things in a brothel. Obviously, later on we get the attempted sexual assault of Bix. I don't know that Lucas lets any of that through. I mean, like, Luthen
honestly, I
is
probably
essentially
wouldn't either.
a terrorist. You know what I mean? Like, but again, it is interesting to see the grimy side of Star Wars and the again, like a lot of people didn't want to admit it. I mean, like we were kind of having this debate with the collecting guys, right? Some people were like, oh, this made me really realize how awful the Empire is, which is kind of what I've been saying continually since season 1 and now. But some people were like, dude, you're serious? Like they fucking blew up Alderaan in the first movie. And I said, yeah, I know, but you didn't really know anything about Alderaan. Like there was no weight to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just know, like, oh, a planet got blown up, and
because
then you hear
it's weird.
Obi-Wan has this moment.
Well, not just that, but it is weird when you hear Tarkin come out, like as you get older, and you hear Tarkin that the Emperor has finally dissolved the Senate. Mm-hmm. What? Mm-hmm. So there was like a Senate, and they knew about this fucking them bombing like Alderaan. Like it's kind of like, okay, well, I mean.
So again, this kind of shows like these are very bad fucking guys. Like this is not like this is not like
they kind of showed it. I'm glad they
lame
kind of
stormtroopers.
I'm glad they kind of show finding the Empire at its worst. That had to all the senators finally had to step up,
right?
Or the certain senators had to step up and be like, you know what, that's enough.
Doesn't it make it to double ADU that much more epic? I mean, like that's the topic of our conversation tonight, guys. So we're definitely going to get to it, and we know people are probably chomping at the bit. And again, so if you have not seen Andor yet, you haven't caught up, turn it off now because we're going to get into it. It's going to be spoiler filled. We're going to talk to you about it at length. The final arc, the final, the series finale, the final 3 episodes. I mean, that's the topic of the night. But interesting. You know what I mean? Interesting to all the things all the conversations that are coming out of it. And again, I love that almost the most because it's creating stimulating conversations, not just about the property, but in general about TV.
It really is.
Good
it's
writing.
Kind of like the first time in a good while that I've actually heard, it's even season 1, people are kind of like still iffy about it. But this is the first time that it seems like everybody was kind of universal on just this series.
Yeah.
How it was, how it got executed.
Yeah.
Everyone seemed to be on board. And then obviously you see the IMDb where no one's review bombing this. Like the last 5 episodes all are like in some of the top highest rated episodes like on TV ever.
I think you sent me the thing that said that these last 3 episodes, like no other show has had consecutive episodes rated that high. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. And like I saw someone say too, they were like, hey, this is Star Wars for guys like us that have loved Star Wars since we're young. We're older now. This is Star Wars for us. But you've got Skeleton Crew, which is for new Star Wars fans, like kids, like my nephew. And like I think he would have liked Skeleton Crew.
But see, it's kind of like it's stuff though that people are into. People are really into the original trilogy. So to kind of fill this kind of gap in, like before you even get to A New Hope, and that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting to see how, like you said, how bad the Empire was, how they built the Death Star, and they had to hide it. Obviously, that wasn't approved by the Senate. Now we learn that,
So I guess that's. Oh, I think we're back there.
Oh, okay.
Well, with that, well, let's talk about this real quick before we get into the episode. We're kind of
Oh, yeah,
talking about it.
go.
So, guys, we got this really cool email, right? So we learned that Comic Palooza, which is a big comic con, when we say
it's one of the
Comic-Con,
biggest one in Texas.
yeah,
for
a
Houston.
legitimate Comic Con. I
Mhm.
know a lot of time we say con or comic show or toy show or meetup or swap or whatever. This is a Comic Con in Houston at the Houston Convention Center, downtown, right near where the Astros play. They sent us this. So anyway, Double A had sent me this email, right, that basically said like, hey, we're looking for podcasters, is your podcast, up to the challenge, yada, yada. Basically, they're looking for people to kind of, help promote the convention before as it comes up. And it, anyway, you submit, right? You have to have had so many episodes. So I kind of threw our name in the hat. I said, well, let's see what happens. You know what I mean? So sure enough, sometime later, we get an email, right? And the email basically says, cue the fanfare, you're in. It says, you've been, congratulations on your official acceptance into the Comic Palooza 2025 podcast partnership program. So we're part of the podcast partnership program. It says you've been chosen, to represent, talk about Comic Palooza 2025, which is happening Friday, June 20th through Sunday, June 22nd at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas. So, what does that mean, right? Like, well, it doesn't mean anything. It means something. It doesn't mean anything in the sense that, like, we're not going to be at the convention per se, podcasting there live or anything like that yet. We don't know that yet. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to be kind of working hand in hand with Comic Palooza to promote them, let people know about this great Comic Con that they're having. And if you're in Texas and in the Houston area or really anywhere, and you want to go to a great con, this is one to go to. Double A, give me quickly your Comic Palooza stories. You have Comic Palooza stories? You've been? Yeah,
I met Ric Flair there. I met Art Anderson there. I met some of the cast from Aliens when they had their anniversary. I got to meet Sigourney Weaver there. Okay. Michael Biehn. It really is one of the biggest. I think Dallas might be a little bigger. Yeah, but Houston is like legit.
It's legit, and there's great guests this year. Me and you, before this even happened, we discussed going because Hayden Christensen's going to be there this year.
And then they got John Cena too.
Oh, they got John Cena. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I definitely want to interview Cena when we get selected, guys. So guys, do all the hashtags, do all the things. You're going to be seeing us post some stuff on our Instagram and our socials regarding Comic Palooza and letting you know about their thing they got coming, because again, we have been selected and like I said, we're kind of just, like I said, throwing our names in the hat, rolling the dice and seeing what happens. As of right now, we're just letting you know that we're part of the podcasting partnership program. And we'll continue talking more, but yeah, they're going to have some amazing guests, like Double A said, Hayden Christensen, John Cena.
I think they have announced Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah, Ming-Na Wen is going to be there.
He just got announced.
I think there's another Star Wars person. I can't remember.
Yeah, they got some wrestlers, I believe, that's going there.
Yeah, my Comic Palooza story was kind of cool because on a whim, my dad decided he really wanted to meet Amelia Clark, Khaleesi or Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. I think that might be the last time she came to Texas, I think. So and my girlfriend wanted to go. My girlfriend doesn't normally, care to go do stuff like this, but it was just us three. We rode in for the day and back in the same day. We never do that. We normally it's a Houston trip, which is about 3.5 hours from us in San Antonio. 3.5 hours. So we went into town. We met her while I was there, though, fortuitous that Double A let me know that Chris Claremont was going to be there. Dan Jurgens was going to be there. This is also where I met why am I blanking? Double A, the gentleman that drew the famous Batman cover you have here. This one.
Oh, Neil Adams.
Yeah, and thankfully, because Neil passed, you know what I mean?
Passed not too long after that.
So I met those three great creators there. That was amazing. Dan Jurgens signed my Superman 1000. Chris Claremont, I got him on some great books that Double A suggested, and our friend, Mario Delgado sold me a copy of the God Loves, Man Kills. So Claremont signed that for me too. What did I get from? I think I got Neil Adams to also sign my Superman 1000. I think he might have a story in there.
I'm pretty damn sure he does.
Yeah. So also, what I learned about him afterwards, the great advocacy for Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, Superman's creators. That's awesome. I think he's known a lot for his Batman stuff, yes. Right? But I think Superman stuff pretty cool too, and just I think an awesome creator. They were all three super wonderful. My one regret is that I could have met our guy from the Harry Potters, the new ones, the ones about the Fantastic Beasts. He was also in The Walking Dead, the heavyset guy with the beard.
Oh yeah, I don't know his name.
And I always think about him from that movie, Balls of Fury. When
Yeah,
the
there
ping
you
pong
go.
guy.
Yes.
But he is a great actor. I saw him having long conversations with people, and I just really enjoy his work. Whatever, his mind is escaping right now. But yeah, Comic Palooza is a really nice con. It's a fun con.
That's a
it's
good one. Yeah.
well organized.
Mhm.
It's going to have, again, like we're saying right now, great guests. So we're excited to be a part of this program. We would be happy if we just got to go out there for one day and hang out. You know what I mean? Like, again, me and Double A were planning to do a potentially a Hayden Christensen, meet. So if we could make that happen through our work with Comic Palooza, then we would make that happen. If we can just even meet and interview Cena, we can make that happen. This is huge for Just Another Friday Night. So we're happy about our partnership with them. Again, keep your eyes out for our posts, for the hashtags. We're going to be trying to do as many of those things as we can. Yeah, Pedro says congratulations and thank you for that.
Thank you.
Pedro, we really appreciate it, man. He also says it was implied that Leia was assaulted by Jabba. Interesting, right? I mean, I didn't know.
I don't remember.
Jabba could see his stuff. You know what I mean? So like, where is the hut? The hut. You know what I mean? Where's the hut's hut? You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, with that segue right there, Double A, what do you think? Should we just get on into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier. And you kind of heard us. It's impossible, right, to not be having the conversation right now. We're excited to talk with you about it as it just happened this week. But we talked with you the last time we all sat around and talked. We talked Andor. We had our good friend Chris Porteous, of Small Talk and Movie Night fame from the Collective Media Network, join us impromptu. He's a huge Star Wars buff, Star Wars guy, Vintage Rebellion podcast, and wanted to come in and kind of join us as we were having that conversation. But yeah, it has wrapped up the series finale, right? Double A, like no more Andor, guys, which is super sad because it was just fucking amazing, right? I mean, like everyone I'm hearing talk about it has nothing but high praise.
Yeah,
calling it the best live action Star Wars show, period. Saying that Andor season 1, Andor season 2, and Rogue One might potentially be a trilogy that rivals the OG trilogy. It's definitely, a trilogy that I would say is like maybe Godfather-esque.
Honestly, I can't wait to, if they do plan on showing it in the theaters next year, they're supposed to like splice the episodes to like somehow together.
Oh, nice.
And then show Rogue One right afterwards. Wow. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna be there.
Wow. I will be there with you, man.
I'm like,
after I finished on Tuesday, I went right into Rogue One. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I wanted to see just how it jumps in, right? And I was like, man, this is such a good pickup, and kudos to Tony Gilroy for that. To just, be able to, the same way he was able to create, Rogue One and have it lead right up to A New Hope. Yeah, you have, now Andor season 2, the last arc lead right into Rogue One, which is perfect storytelling. A lot of people were making jokes. They were like, hey, just so y'all know, Rogue One's about Jyn Erso, just so y'all know, in case you're looking for more Andor, you know what I mean? But again, Cassian is one of these great characters from there, and seeing him fully fleshed out in this show was amazing. An incredible journey from kind of not being a believer and not being like, to being the guy that tells Jyn, rebellions are built on hope. You know what I mean? So I love that line. That to me is as powerful as may the force be with you. You know what I mean? It's like, these guys had their backs against the wall. I mean, this is a real shit show. You know what I mean? And you guys have seen the episodes, I would hope by now. If you haven't, we're going to talk spoilers. So be prepared. You know what I mean? We get here. Let's see here. Oh, Connor Williams back in the house. We appreciate you, Connor, being here. He says, it 100% enhances the original trilogy. One line that stood out to me but never made sense until Andor was when Luke said, of course I hate the Empire, but there's not much I can do about it right now. Yeah, talk about that. Good pull, Connor, because, again, like me and Double A have said, and we've been saying, it's like, that Empire is like sinister, and yeah, they blew up a planet, but I didn't know, as much as people say they hate Obi-Wan, which we don't hate it, you know what I mean? But when I got to see Alderaan and see young Leia, and when I got to know more about Bail Organa, when I got to see the wife, I was like, wow, that's a beautiful place to use. It made me more sad about knowing that Alderaan got fucking blown up by Tarkin's bitch ass. So then to see all this other stuff that people went through and sacrificed it and tried to do is like, man, they really were. I mean, fucking awful. That scene in what is it? Double A Mando season 2 or 1 with Bill Burr and the guy that's from the guy you met from Game of Thrones.
Man, season 2. I
Yeah.
think it is.
But just him kind of being a real cocky,
which I saw that
smarmy-
episode was one of the highest rated ones too.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that little exchange between Bill Burr and him when he's like, really have friends on that thing, you know what I mean? Like you're kind of like, he's like, you can see Pedro Pascal's great in it too, right? Where he's looking at him like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
he's gonna shoot this fucking guy. Like it's like, and he's like, fuck you, you know what I mean? We're behind enemy lines, like, but it's like, man, you're a real scumbag piece of shit, which he was. And it's like, okay, so we're like, those are little tastes of the evil of the Empire. But man, Andor just especially
It really
this
ramped
season.
it up. I mean, it really did. From them doing shit and making it seem like it's the planet's fault for, them for them coming in and blowing people up and shit like that. I mean, it's just, despicable.
Scary too, just the lies, the
Mhm.
senators getting arrested before they go into the before they can even speak. I mean, guys, again, we don't want to get political.
Normal people getting arrested in season
Yeah.
1
yeah.
for just bumping into a guard. You get a life sentence.
How about yeah, but that happened with Andor, right? You know what I mean? He gets fucking, it goes from 6 months to 6 years.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that in your fucking life? I'd be like, what the fuck is happening? This jailbreak, you're building this fucking, you don't know, but weapon of mass
Yeah, you're
destruction.
just like, oh shit, they just have us doing this heavy labor
yeah.
when it's really the Death Star.
Right. I mean, which is, in its own right, dark. You know what I mean? Like the mining of the Kyber, the destruction of those planets. I mean, the Empire is really fucking ruthless and awful. And like what Chris was kind of saying last week, it's like at this point too, it's like, the Emperor is like obviously a bad guy, but it's like there's so many other like fucking like roaches within the Empire that want to do bad shit that they're like the greedy politicians trying to line their pockets.
Yeah, because I'm sure at this point the Emperor's probably like, we just got a lockdown and whatever certain people do, I really don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, no one knows what the Emperor really is. The Emperor's like pure evil.
Right.
Everyone still sees him as, the kind of like Chancellor Palpatine almost, but they don't know that this dude is like Sith. Like the Sith Lord, the most ultimate evil in the universe. And if people cause destruction anywhere else, he's probably just like, well, whatever.
And I gotta say, Double A, I think even if they did know, guys like Krennic, guys like Parzigus, Deidre, I don't think they would care. Because you know what it reminded me of, Double A? It reminded me of V for Vendetta, right? The one chief that's there's the lead guy, right? The Chancellor, but then there's that one chief, the one that's like, all you got is your knives and your fancy karate moves. I'm like, man, these guys are just like, they're like happy to work for like the bad
really
guys.
are.
You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, so they're really just a bunch of awful assholes. You know what I mean? Like, I know you won't agree with me, Double A, but I'm like, it's almost like Darth Vader ain't that bad compared to these guys. So,
no, he's pretty damn bad. We don't even know what the hell Vader's up to at this point.
But let's talk about some of the character arcs, Double A, and some of the development. I want to hear and get your thoughts on it, right? Because what we come to find out is that, it's easy for us to be like, oh, like Luke blew up the Death Star or whatever, right? But damn, there was so much more.
So much more. Yeah, that, they were able to fill out finally, showing the rebels, the rebellion starting to, it leading to Rogue One, to getting the plans for the Death Star, to, getting the first victory over the Empire. I mean, it's all because of this series right here.
Yeah.
That we see the beginnings of it. So,
and Double A, what about fucking Luthen Rael, man? Luthen, you almost is like, this guy is like fight fire with fire. Like I've got to be as crooked, as dirty, as manipulative as Palpatine. That's the only way to beat him. And you need a guy like that. Luke Skywalker ain't that guy.
No.
Luke Skywalker ain't that guy.
No.
Luthen is that fucking guy, man. I mean, like, and you kind of got to say, man, you need like a fucking hard-edged guy like that.
You really do at the beginning to do all that.
Yeah.
I mean, even Mothma has to, she sacrifices a whole great deal that we never knew about, I mean, from, leaving her husband to sacrificing the daughter to, leaving all of that to where we see her at the very end, she's as far away as being from royalty, whatever she was, she's as far away from that, you know. So,
I mean, how about that character, Zoe, that we've seen always as a New Hope? I never really gave her
really
a second
cared about
thought.
it,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? And now I'm like, wow, man,
I love
Mon-
that character. That's probably one of the characters that, wow, this really helped establish her as a main force in Star Wars lore now.
Absolutely.
You know? I mean, you know, because me and CM here didn't read the book, so I mean, if she's like a bigger character in the books, you know, me and CM and probably a lot of people like us that love the Star Wars universe, but really didn't pick up the books, you know, really
Right.
don't know where a lot of the characters go, you know, and so for this to actually see Mon kind of like her character fleshed out, and Genevieve O'Reilly did such a great job.
Amazing.
I mean, she was like an MVP in this whole season. I mean, it was amazing to finally see this rebellion leader, the rebel leader, kind of being established. And yeah, she's pretty damn a big force against Palpatine, you know.
Right.
Like I would stand behind her.
Absolutely.
You know, in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. She was fantastic. Double A sent me the great scene that she was actually cast by Lucas as the young
so I
Mon
was like,
Mothma.
man, and I told him, I was like, you know, maybe once upon a time I probably saw that deleted scene.
Mhm.
Probably didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
And to be like, wow, so he actually put that already, kind of like the senators were already thinking about, you know, hey,
This is
Palpatine,
fuck.
yeah, Palpatine's not gonna like go of power.
Yeah.
But for her to play this character for that long, like for even like the Star Wars creators now to still pull her
Mhm.
to be like, we want you to play her again.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that must have been, you know, amazing. They
And-
didn't just recast anyone, you know,
Right.
they got her.
Yeah, and Star Wars fans are loving her. They're giving her her flowers. They're saying, "Man, she's
yeah.
fantastic." And if you guys want, you can look this up on YouTube. I mean, it's a classic deleted scene from episode 3, Double A.
Yes, Revenge.
And this is Revenge. This is, which is neat too, because you get to see her there with, you know, the Jimmy Smiths, Bail Organa, and Padme.
And it's kind of cool because
You
it's
know?
kind of like, damn, these were the main ones, you know.
And it's especially cool now. Damn, Double A, if they do that cut you're saying, man, it'd be great if they could like put that at the beginning. Right?
Oh, it would be kind
like
of cool.
put that cut at the beginning, seeing that prime cut there.
That would be cool.
What about this guy, Double A? What do you think about Lonni here? You know, man, this guy ended up being
He
pretty
did his job.
important.
Yeah, he did his job. What he needed. It sucked. It seemed like when I saw that part, it seemed like an old school spy movie for sure.
Definitely.
You know, I mean, and it even kind of seemed like it was almost the beginning of Rogue One. Remember when that dude is like, you know, I gotta get out of here. You know, there.
I remember
that guy freaking out when Cassian, you know, ends up killing him.
I remember when I first saw that, I was like, "Oh, is this guy a bad guy, Cassian?" Because I was like, "He just shot that guy like in the back."
That's what I thought too.
And I was like, "The good guys don't do that." But then I realized, I'm like, dude, you know,
we are in the trenches of Star Wars,
and there's all kinds of, you know, there's shades of gray. You know what I mean?
Like they didn't even make Han Solo this kind of like character like they did with Cassian.
Dude, I saw people saying one thing that we learned is that Cassian Andor shoots first. I was like, I fucking like that. That's fucking badass. You know what I mean?
Connor says Genevieve O'Reilly did stunning work this season. She can communicate so much with just her eyes and a quick quiver in her mouth. She deserves at least a nomination for Best Supporting Actress.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And definitely get Stellan Skarsgård some noms too, man. Because
this arc was kind of like his.
Yeah.
This arc belonged to him and the actress who plays Kleya.
Yes, wonderful actress
name.
Who Double A reminded me that this was her first
Elizabeth Dulal.
Yeah,
I
Dulal.
hope I'm saying her name right.
Yeah, I think so.
And again, you know, this is what people like CM. It's like Kleya isn't like a major character. You know, you see her and you like her. You like her presence. You know, her and Luthen, their communication back and forth. Yeah. And so it's like it's not felt like she's shoved down our throats. No, like people felt like that with Rey. Yes, you know, and you know the acolyte, they felt shoved down with her, and you know, and other stuff. But with when they do it right, when they do it like this, there can be popular characters that people can watch.
Absolutely.
So we got a lot from Kleya. Like we didn't get a lot. We got a little bit of Kleya, but it was enough that people are like, I like the character. Oh yeah. And then when she had her moment to shine, people were like, man, people were just talking about what a badass.
Absolutely.
Like for her to being like, for this being like her first role, and you know they give her that big old chunk of an episode, and she does such a great job. I mean, people were just like all over her saying, man, what a great job she did. Kleya is like one of the greatest Star Wars characters ever.
Totally.
You know, people were actually worried too, but like, oh man, like after that episode, people were kind of like, man, is she gonna die?
Yeah, she's not gonna make
you know, like because she's not in any of the, you know, obviously she's not in the original trilogy,
right?
So people were like,
or there's no mention of
so
her.
So people really got nervous, and that's kind of great when you know you get that kind of response from your fans.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that's just the way you need to do it. You can't force characters down people's throats.
We talk about it. We talk about it when people say how much they fucking hate the scene in Endgame, right? Where it's, you know, all the female
there was a lot
heroes.
of people. Even though in the theaters we heard the reaction was different in the theaters.
I thought
yeah, I didn't read that shit until afterwards. But if you're in the theater that me and CM were, I mean, man, people got excited for that fucking scene.
But it does feel, you know, when you look at it again, it does feel like a little heavy-handed. You're right. It's so much better when you do it this way. It's very subtle. We talked about this with Mando season 2, when they're kind of making their way, you know.
I mean, look, people were still fucking heartbroken when they killed off Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
People were heartbroken because they didn't force her down our throats.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Then on the other end of the spectrum, you had people that hated Captain Marvel, Brie Larson.
Yes. Yeah.
Because people felt like, well, she's being shoved down our throats.
Right.
You know, it's just, it's weird. People just don't like that. Like, people want to say, you know, Star Wars fans are sexist, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. If you look at it, people love Leia because she wasn't forced down our throats. People loved Queen Amidala because she wasn't forced down our throats. People love Kleya because she wasn't forced down our throats. Yeah. But they all were great, super tough characters that, you know, when something happened to them, you did feel something for them. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And so that's the way you got to write these characters. You just can't be like, oh, here's our main character and you have to like her.
Right.
It's not going to work.
Right.
You know, and you're going to get a lot, and you're going to get a lot of shit over
it. And this is the thing too, right? Like, you know, we get Bix here and there, you know what I mean? I think everyone fell in love with Bix, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we get Kleya here and there, you know, the last round of episodes, her and Lonni kind of having that exchange, her trying to get the listening device out.
She was great. She always just be like she was always like so much tougher.
Yeah.
Than everyone. Like she was pretty much saying Lonni, like, shut the fuck up and get in front, like do your job. And then, you know, I loved her in Cassian's back in Warrior, where she was kind of like looking at him like man up, like pretty much saying, Cassian, man the fuck up.
Like, we're already in it, bro.
Yeah, like
this is it. Like, the shit's going down. You know,
grow balls and go back out there.
And I don't know if you're like me, right? But we got to know Kleya enough that when we found out that Luthen wasn't all the way gone, it never even entered my mind she's gonna go on a rescue. I knew she's gonna go finish it. She's gonna go finish it, which I was like, that's fucking badass. And that's before, or I'm kind of learning as the episode goes on, I'm learning that he's like a father figure. Like, that's fucking nuts. That's fucking, like, that's good writing. Like the rebellion is the mission, and no one is above that.
Like her mission. And Luthen always had that in mind. Like, they always both looked at both characters like, man, they're cold. They really don't, you know, they don't care, you know, too much.
Yeah.
You know, like Mon was kind of going on and on, which I hated when they were talking. Was like, you just don't want me to get caught because then you think you're going to get caught. No, Luthen was like, really like, no, you can't fucking get caught. We need you.
Right.
I don't care about me. It was almost like, I don't give a shit about me. You need to be alive.
Which is interesting, right? Because it's what we said, right? You need a guy like Luthen to initiate, to do the bad things.
Yes.
But he knew, he's like, I'm not going to inspire them. That's you. They're going to listen and follow you. I'm here to do the shitty things I got to do.
Kleya and Luthen both knew, no, we got to do bad stuff for this fucking rebellion to work.
Yeah.
Because they're doing bad stuff.
It's funny, right? It's almost too sometimes what you hear Batman say to Superman. He's like, they'll follow you. They're not going to follow me. You know what I mean? And because, you know, people are always, I mean, I think we all know Batman's kind of psychotic, you know what I mean? So it's like, he definitely does. You know what I mean? The same thing. Who else has a relationship like that? You know, a Wolverine and a Cyclops. They're gonna follow Cyclops. Wolverine's like, I'm here. I'm not trying to be the leader. I'm here to do the
fucking dirty job.
Right. Guy. I'm the muscle, the one that slits the throats. I'm the one that does the shit that you don't want. I get my hands dirty.
Yes.
And that's what Luthen's hands were full of blood. But he knew that's the only way it was gonna work.
Yeah. The Empire's done so much bad shit. You guys just don't understand.
Right.
We got to do the same shit.
He had that.
And if people puss out and being like, man, you know, the Empire is coming. you know what? I don't need you then.
Yeah.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and that's what he's telling Lonni in season 1 when he's like, "Oh, you're asking what I sacrificed. Let me tell you what I sacrificed."
Mm-hmm.
And he explains it to him very thoroughly in that very that monologue that everyone loves. You know what I mean? He's like, I've sacrificed everything already. Like, I'm too far gone. I mean,
yeah. And then he knew Lonni was like already like weakening.
Yeah, we think about the wife and the kids.
Yeah,
can you imagine the pressure of him, Double A, where it's
and exactly, and Luthen's like, great, like this guy's gonna give us up, for the family,
Yeah,
and, even though he joined us, supported us, if the shit hits the wall, he's gonna spill his guts.
Well, look at how long he held out the information from Luthen that he had from Deidre about the Death Star. It was almost like he's like, I didn't tell you because I knew you'd want to act on it, and it's like Luthen's like, fuck yeah, I do. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Connor says they are great characters because the writers force them to face adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they overcome this adversity. Other times they struggle or fail, but they are also allowed to be competent and skilled.
Absolutely, Connor. Yeah,
they are not nuisance characters. Nuanced characters who can sometimes make decisions we don't understand or don't like. For example, Mon marrying her daughter off for the sake of the rebellion.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, she made the sacrifices too.
Yeah. Ultimately, she may have saved her daughter's life. You know what I mean?
She may have done that too.
In the long run. It's a Spock thing, right? The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And it was like, yeah, Andor's conflicted because he loves Bix and he doesn't want any harm to come to her. He's lost people. He's lost things. But even she knows, she's like, this is bigger than us.
So this episode, like the first episode of the new 3, of the last 3, was pretty damn intense. We get Lonni, the Death Star. They're building the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
They're using Galen Erso, who everyone already knows by this point who Galen Erso is.
Absolutely.
And he ends up killing Lonni on the bench.
Yeah.
Then Luthen's like, shit, we that's it. This is it. We got to get out of here. We got to leave before he can like get rid of any kind of evidence, any kind of that. Dedra comes, and he already knows. He's like, fuck, she found out.
Yeah.
And they have this little back and forth, where she's pretending not to know, but I mean, obviously Luthen knows. And,
she breaks out that fucking box from like season 1, that, you know what I mean? That old decoder box. And, Luthen knew he was like,
and he tries to commit suicide. He before, because he's surrounded and he knows that. He's like, that's it. That's the end of the line for me.
Right.
I can't do anything, and I'm not going to let them get me.
Which also hard. He was already destroying what was there, like the communications devices and all that. He's already kind of getting rid of that network or whatever, and so I mean, he's gonna off himself, which is like he probably always knew he was gonna do. Yeah,
he almost does, except Dedra is alive.
Yes, yeah.
And Kleya's like, shit, like already is like you said, she's not thinking about rescue. She's like, I gotta kill him.
Yep.
Because the Empire has ways to find out about everything.
And do you think that's the exact thing that Luthen knew about Lonni? He was like, there's no way. He was never gonna live. No. I think I'm gonna milk this guy for everything he's got, but ultimately
because he knew already there was like 2 or 3 times he saw this dude like wanting to like fucking run.
Oh, he was like cracking under the pressure, which again, all due respect and kudos to Lonni, because it's the fucking Joe Pistone thing, right? Where it's like, if they catch me, they're gonna fucking not just cut my throat, they're gonna fucking beat the shit out of me. They're probably torture me. You know what I mean? Like this is like worse than the mob. It's the fucking Gestapo. You know what I mean? It's like, dude,
and they're gonna find out.
If he got caught, I can't imagine what happened.
Find out what
he got a merciful death from.
Yes, he did. Yeah. So I mean, this episode is pretty heavy. This is like a Kleya, big time Kleya episode, which was great. And this is the episode where people really fell in love with the character.
Yeah.
That she infiltrates the hospital. She kills a lot of stormtroopers.
Even them, the Empire is like, it must have been at least a three.
They thought it was a 3-man.
And I'm like, dude, this chick is fucking badass. I mean, like super spy Kleya, man. Like she did so good. And again, Double A educated me that the actress Elizabeth
Yes.
Delaney. This is her first acting role out of acting school. So like, wow, to get such a hefty role and now become like a beloved character. I can tell you right now, if you're in the collecting world, you're going to be after a Kleya figure. You're going to be after, a Kleya, a hot toy, whatever it may be. Because I know I'm thinking about it myself. I'm like, this chick was a badass. You know what I mean? She was always dedicated and motivated to the cause. And there was no one going to come.
Okay, and then this episode 2 is a flashback where we find out about Luthen and her relationship goes way back.
Yeah.
When
he kind of first realizes that how awful the Empire is. I mean, like he's having that moment. He's drinking. He's saying, make it stop, make it stop. It's like he's already like this guy is like broken already. That way, like I'm like, well, Luthen was already like, fuck this, fuck these guys.
You can kind of hear they're doing some bad shit on the outside. It's not a war. I don't think that's going on. Or
these guys are up for just like straight up genocide. Like they're just like, I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah. So I mean, this episode's pretty heavy, and Dedra, she thinks she's all badass and everything. She thinks she's caught the ultimate spy, and then only for her to get asked to get arrested.
Yeah, because she's already getting told. She's like, I'm gonna go speak to was it Parzingus or whatever?
I can't remember his name. Yeah, some shit like
that. Which by the way, his end was so good too. I loved that. I was like, that's what you get.
Fucking asshole.
That's what you get, you piece of shit. But pretty much, they're telling her, they're like, you disobeyed orders. You were already told not to do this, but you're doing your own thing. Talk about going rogue. She was so obsessed with access, with finding.
When Krennic does that and says all that, it's like, man, and she meant well for the Empire. She really did. But it's like, man, with the way Krennic is seeing it, like if you see it from his point of view, it's like, holy shit, that does sound bad on you, chick.
Yeah.
That really sounds bad on you.
And how good is it's Ben
Mendelsohn?
Ben Mendelsohn. How good is he?
He's always good, man.
He's excellent.
He is
excellent as a bad guy. As Krennic. When he does that finger on her head, that's like a dog. I was like, holy fuck, man. He does. I think she got off light. I was like, they are gonna do bad things to this fucking chick. You know what I mean? So the flash was weird, right?
Yeah, it was almost like when he did that.
The spirit of Krennic is here. And be careful not to choke on your aspiration.
Even then, he's not even like afraid of Vader.
No.
Even on that scene.
No.
He's all like, he smiles afterwards, like, hell yeah, I mean, I'm still in charge.
You know what? This guy's hate for like Tarkin and like it's like the dogs like fighting for the fucking like they're so.
It's like he wants to be the Emperor's number 2 guy.
Yeah, they're so evil. Like they're so fucking ruthless. I'm like, man, y'all are fucking awful. You know what I mean? Again, I was watching the course at the beginning of Rogue One, but just the way he is with fucking Galen, you know what I mean? Like,
of course, now we're gonna take you and your family too.
Yeah, and he's like this place, like farming, he's a peaceful life. And then when he's like, oh, look, here she is, back from the dead.
Back from the dead.
I'm like, man, like right away you hate him. You hate Krennic. I'm like, man, you're such a real piece of shit.
Boy has his figure. Right?
He would.
He's there, like if you ever go into the pub, it's right. He's right below the Death Star.
Man, fucking
Boy has like a Death Star light. And he's like right underneath it.
Well, also double AT, he's like one of the only ones like choosing to wear the cape around, right?
Yeah.
Why are you wearing a cape?
That.
No one just wears a cape. Shit. I'm like, he's like,
and it's funny too because, and I kind of like this too. I don't know if it is true or not, but if you see A New Hope, they say there's an empty chair. For a long time, even after Rogue One, people were saying that empty chair was for Krennic.
No shit.
Yeah, so I was like, wow,
that's cool.
Isn't that would be interesting if fucking Tony Gilroy saw that part too in A New Hope and be like, you know what?
So many.
That's gonna be the designer right there. That's the old designer of the Death Star. That's gonna be his seat,
dude. That's really cool.
That'd be cool. Even really he looked at that small detail and be like, that's my guy right there.
And it's like Connor said, man. Like all this has done is like enrich the original trilogy, which at this point, I mean, it's considered pretty much sacred text, right?
Oh,
it's like
my goodness,
you can't touch it. Which
for a long time that was seen as like the ultimate like trilogy, like that was the benchmark.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got involved in a big conversation through one of the groups here, and we were kind of saying that we were kind of just like all reliving like. How we felt about Jedi when we were young, how we felt about, Empire when we were young, how, New Hope, how New Hope's going to hit harder now, by the things that we've seen.
It really is, because now you kind of know you have faces to put on who got the plans for the Death Star.
Yeah.
what had to go into forming this rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, yeah.
Oh, dude, in a different world with different outcomes.
So
like,
yeah,
Cassian's right there getting a medal too, and Jin.
Yeah,
and
so man,
fucking,
seeing A New Hope, yeah, for sure, it's going to be a lot different kind of viewing now after seeing what they did.
Yeah,
you know?
In a way, it's almost kind of like you know, the Luke and Han and they were like the cleanup crew. Like it was like shit. All the groundwork had been laid. You know what I mean? It's like now, yeah, not saying they didn't need them to execute, but you know, they did need to execute. But it was like, man, all the setup, man, all the sacrifice before,
like it makes it more intense. Now when you see A New Hope and you're seeing Luke flying to the Death Star and launching those missiles, now you mean like, damn, like that's what Andor died for, or that's what Jin died for, you know, that's what Mon Mothma sacrificed everything for.
Yeah.
Bell Organa died
Dude,
for.
Luthen died for.
Luthen died for, and that was for that moment right here in A New Hope, like at the very end. You know?
I can't get over too, you know, when he's having that conversation with this is like when he's having that conversation with Cassian, Luthen, you know, and he's telling him, you know, about Gorman, and he's like, it will burn and it'll burn brightly. He's like, a big important place in the galaxy needs to go down so that they can see the awfulness of the Empire, which is like, fuck, man, that's dark. You know what I mean? Like it's heavy, but you know, it's Adrian Veidt, Ozymandias' his move. He's like, this is the only way we're gonna stop fighting. Is to kill half of fucking the people or whatever.
New York killed like 3 million people in New York.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and you're like, you know, even Dr. Manhattan can't argue with him. He's like,
he's not
like,
wrong.
Oh, it's better now. Like the Earth didn't blow itself up. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, you know, but again, these are the people that got to make those tough decisions. So I mean, yeah, man, it just gives so much weight to
it really does
Star Wars. I mean, like it's fucking serious, you know what I mean? It's serious and it's heavy and it's good and it's well written and it's fucking badass, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, this was good. Like you say, all of Kleya's facials throughout this whole episode, you know, and her just getting level to level to level to, you know, doing all the right moves and then, you know, killing Luthen.
Yeah,
man, I was like, wow, I was blown away. And I was ready for the next episode after this one finished.
Absolutely.
You know?
Even him teaching her, right, that line when she, you know, she says, "Are you my dad now?" And he says, "You're Kleya and I'm Luthen." He's like, for now, while it serves us, you will be.
And then even that part too is like, man, she's the one that like was kind of like the one, that knew how to deal with people more than he did. It seemed like,
right,
when they're bargaining and trying to get money from antiques or, you know, or shit like that, you know.
But then you kind of see her, right, though, like when she sees those stormtroopers executing those people, she's kind of a little bit like, we got to do something about this shit. You know, like, this is, you know, which I think Luthen was already thinking those things, but now it's like a like-minded person, and they're like, okay, now the cause is going to be greater, right? Double A, what did you think about, you know, we see that bombing happening, and he's kind of teaching her, like, don't look. Like, we're like,
and then that was confirmed that was on Coruscant.
Oh, it wasn't Naboo? I thought it was
Naboo. Okay.
Naboo.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yes, if you guys remember that scene on the bridge where the bombing's happening and everyone's like, he's like, don't react yet. Like, you got to wait to react because nothing's happened yet. The bombs go off. We find out that's Naboo, and then I think what we read afterwards, because of course everything's coming out, right?
Hey, tell me, because he's from the Palpatine.
Yeah, Palpatine's from Naboo. So Luthen's like, well, I want to attack your home world, you know what I mean? Which is like, fuck, like that's like, you know, it's like two master chess players, right? You know, you've got Palpatine, which as we see throughout, we're like, man, this guy, he sets up the whole Clone Wars. Like everything happens because of him.
The whole war's because
both sides, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the thinning out of the Jedi, the clone troopers, like everything. You're like, fuck, man. Like
this guy was smart.
And you're like, man, nobody was prepared for that.
No, nobody
but was. Luthen was. Like, Luthen was like, oh, I see all this shit that this guy's doing, all the strings he's pulling. So he started to pull all his strings. You know what I mean? Like getting senators on his side, manipulating, you know what I mean? Like, you know, even training Kleya for the stuff that they were going to do, you know? And he's doing all of this without like the Jedi or mystic forces or anything like that. It's like, hey, we got to do all these other things, you know, working with Saw. I mean, and Saw, who's like this extremist, you know what I mean? Like,
that dude was pissing me off, man. Like, man, they're trying to really get like together, get their shit together, and this motherfucker's like, you're liars. You send your spies on me, and you don't know where I'm at. It's like, you're on Jeddah.
Yeah, just classic like paranoia.
Like,
Yeah. I was like, I don't know, whatever that gas he was huffing or whatever. I was like, saw was fucking nuts. I mean, that was just like crazy. So yeah, obviously, you know, we couldn't wait for him to get his on we knew it with Rogue One. So, you know, the first test run of the Death Star
goodness.
there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some people say Saw 2 is extremely important to all the things.
So they keep saying, yeah.
You know, but I mean, I don't know. The extremism and all that seemed a little bit.
Yeah, he's always like fighting against the rebellion too. He's fighting against everyone.
Yeah, but it's interesting though, right? Too, because you do see, even Bail Organa kind of, and sometimes you're like, hey man, you gotta get on board
like,
or whatever.
Wow, this still is kind of like the Senate.
Right, exactly.
Like,
but that's all they know, how to be as politicians.
I know, but I'm like, damn, like you're not politicians anymore.
And you almost want to tell them, like, hey, you're not out there.
Yeah.
You're not fucking out there like we are, man. Like this shit is like
they really don't believe that the Emperor is making a big ass weapon.
Right.
You really don't believe that.
Right. and then AA2, like again, like they don't understand, like, when Cassian and Bix are like living in that little place on course on that kind of safe house, it's just like, like fuck man, they don't understand. I mean, like that's why at that one part, like Cassian doesn't even want to go grocery shopping and shit. Like he's like, fuck, like man, like there's fucking spies everywhere. Like you're just constantly feeling like again, like we said, the Donnie Brasco thing, like when Joe fucking Pistone slaps his own wife because he's already like man, I'm fucking like under a lot of fucking pressure. Like you're stressed the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like there's everyone everywhere listening. The Empire is fucking like Nazi Germany, times 10. You know what I mean? They're it's the worst. So it's like, how can you relax? He's like, you really can't relax so all the rats are drowned. You know what I mean? It's like, I gotta get rid of all these fuckers and then we'll be okay. What else, AA?
So then the second episode is kind of like them trying to get Kleya, trying to rescue her. Of course, everyone's saying Cassian, oh fuck them too, pretty much, or fuck Luthen because they think it's Luthen. They don't know he's dead.
Yeah,
and they're like, we're not going to risk our, something bad happening, where they figure it out for him,
right?
And he's like going on, well, like, are you kidding me? Like Luthen's like kind of like the guy responsible for even any of this shit happening.
I love that part when he goes off on them. He's like, I'm not going to stand here listening. You run him down or whatever. And I'm like, hold on. And I get it. But again, you know what it is, AA? It's and it's not their fault, right? Because they're good people. Bail and Mon Mothma, they do not understand. Just like how we always see in the comic books, right? They don't understand Wolverine. Superman will always kind of look a little bit down on Batman for his methods because it's kind of like, they're not holier than thou, but they don't understand that because that's
Captain America
and their
Punisher.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good one too. It's kind of like your methods are not my methods, and I think that we can do what we have to do without your methods, but that's not true. We know that that's not true. You need to fight fire with fire. You need someone that can play dirty. There is no way that the Empire goes down without Luthen. There's not. There's just not. You know what I mean?
But this episode is pretty intense to see them trying to get to Kleya, which they do. But then they were able to salvage enough that Luthen really didn't destroy his whole communication.
Yeah,
that they're able to find out where she's at. It's them three versus a little group of stormtroopers.
Right.
But I mean they're not prepared for a gunfight. And she's telling Cassian, like, you got to go back. You got to go back and tell everyone that, Death Star is being built. You got to tell everyone Luthen died, but, the Kyber crystals, Gorman, Galen Erso, this massive weapon.
Right.
They're building a fucking, a weapon that we can't even imagine. And she's trying to tell him that, like, you need to go. You need to get out of here. And he's like, no, I'm not going to leave you.
I like when he first opens the door to her and she's like, it would be you. Like, she's like, kind of like, wow.
Like, oh,
and then she's like, last time we talked, you were ready to quit. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, she's still like being tough, you know what I mean? On him, which he's like, hey, like things have kind of changed. You know what I mean? AA, do you think that her plan was just to die after this? Like,
I think so.
Give the message to Andor and then like maybe try to like live a little bit.
Because
like
she knew how they were viewed.
Yeah,
she knew how that no one really cared for her or Luthen.
Well, I mean, like they put the word out on her, right? Deidre was like, "You got to get her. If he's dead, we got to get her. She's who we're gonna like torture and get this information."
Which I was like, "Oh, fuck!"
I know. Which again, too, it's the constant like looking over your shoulder.
But then, luckily, Dedra got arrested. So then they left it up to that other idiot.
Yeah.
You know, to make it sound like she's a fugitive, she has a plague.
Right. Right.
They're bullshit. Like she's sick, she might contaminate people, and we need to get her back. And...
Dude, it was like this guy kind of like was stepping in the role that the Imperial guy that was stepping in for Deidre, like trying to like, okay, well, I'm gonna be the one that catches this chick. You know, just for them to have a shootout with Cassian and the other guy. I forget the other guy. The other guy.
I forgot.
Yeah, his significance, whatever. But obviously, K2SO really thank goodness.
It wasn't for them. Yeah, for K2, it was like, man, they might have died. So
exactly. So you kind of keep seeing these things happen that you're like, man, every little thing, like we know, right? We're like, well, you know, we know Andor is going to survive, but it's like, man, if it wasn't for K2SO, Andor wouldn't have survived to help get the plans to, you know, we keep leading back to like, your mind keeps playing back to like, eventually, you know, this is the guy that like helps get the Death Star plans, and then they like, you know, without him, that doesn't happen. So thank goodness for K2SO in that part, you know.
Connor, I'm so glad that Tony Gilroy showed the restraint to not include any lightsabers in the finale.
Yeah.
It makes the Vader moment in Rogue One that much more impactful. Absolutely. And talk about that. All the things we're talking about, right? The evil of the Empire, the sinisterness of the even the Imperials that were like not the Emperor. You know, I saw that movie in theaters twice. I always tell this story right about Rogue One, and I'm like, and both times I got real fear and real chills at the Vader scene because it's like he's completely unhinged at that point, like very ruthless. I mean, I saw someone say something. They were like, think about it. They were like, when Vader normally does a choke, he just kind of like has his hands still open. He's just choking you, right? They're like, in that scene, he's like grabbing people. So he's crushing their throats and then throwing their bodies. I didn't even pick up on that. And I was like, I just remember that I was like sitting back in my seat, like, fuck that. Like, I was like, I would have shit my pants still. Like, I would have just shit on myself and been like, fuck this. Like, cried, called for my mom, for Jesus or whoever, out of Space Jesus, somebody. I'd have been like, you know, I would have been a coward and ran to the door and be like, I don't want to die. I don't want to fucking die by this motherfucker. Like, but yeah, it's fucking harrowing and it's ruthless. Yeah,
and it's a sign already that he is like at his wits end.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Because he's like, man, this fucking Death Star shit.
uh-huh.
I had to come already. I had to meet with this dickhead, you know, director Krennic. And now I gotta come over here and fucking try to wipe out this rebellion out.
Yeah.
He's like, motherfucker.
He's chasing down Leia, and then shortly after that, you know, he's got fucking Tarkin on his ass. Vader, let him go. I'm like, fuck you, man. You don't tell me what to do. I'm like,
you know what? That's the Emperor's number 2 guy.
Again, I almost feel at this point as I'm like, I dislike them. I mean, I guess I always dislike the Imperials more than fucking Vader. Not that he's not one of them, but I'm just like, you know what? He's almost like, I know you're gonna disagree with me, but he's almost like he has at least a code. You know what I mean? Like, to a sense. And
but
they're just like,
but see, the Emperor knows like Vader can't be the guy leading it.
right.
Tarkin is just so much better at the whole, you know, we gotta do this, and this. He you know, he can lead the Imperial troops.
Right.
Vader, obviously, you see without Tarkin and Empire, this dude is killing admirals left and right.
Oh yeah.
For little fucking things like where Tarkin will be like, you know, like, no, you can't fucking do that. You know, he's an admiral. Where it's like my brother said, it's like he kills all the admirals, and then all of a sudden, you know, these majors get promoted.
And you don't want
like,
those
man,
guys.
what the
They're like,
fuck?
nah, fuck, I didn't know what the fuck to do.
Like the Emperor's probably like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you killing my guys for? These are the guys that fought like in the Clone Wars. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Also, too, right, Dylan, there's that part where he's like, no weapon is a match for the power of the Force. You know, he says, and they're kind of like, what the dude, this is like a weapon, right? It's a planet killer. They're like, what the fuck are you talking? He does sound kind of like someone like a shaman or whatever, being like, hey, don't take medicine. Just pray about it. You'll be okay.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
no
I'm
shit.
sick. I
No
want
shit.
the medicine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're like, this guy sounds loco. This
Because
is
for almost 2 decades, they've ran things without the Force. You know, they've ran things without this mystical energy.
And I think they think of him too as kind of like just the Emperor's like big fucking junkyard
Just
dog.
the enforcer.
Like, you're just like a big,
Yeah.
just big. like, look, man, let us do the strategy
Let
stuff.
Tarkin handle this,
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
you just fucking go back to wherever your lava planet.
Yeah,
home.
and your
You
own
know?
thing with your wheezing and all that. Well, that's why one guy gets mouthy, and then he's like, "Oh, all right."
But you know what? It kind of shows though, like they're kind of like disrespect for his dude.
Yeah,
In a way, like like, the fuck is this guy? Like you said, like what the fuck is this guy talking to us about this shit? We're like, we're listening to Tarkin. Like,
yeah.
get the fuck out of here. You know,
Yeah.
it's like almost like
Who invited you to the meeting?
yeah, you're not even one of us. Like, who the fuck are you? Like,
you know what?
go back to the Emperor.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It'd be like you're fucking having a meeting, and then like somebody sends their bodyguard in, and
Yeah,
you're like,
what's the Emperor's bodyguard doing here?
Doing here? I gotta talk to this guy. It reminds me too, Double A, though, a little bit of like I remember your brother was telling me when we were watching the Rome show, and I know you watched it with him too, but like how like if you were like Caesar's slave, like even other people like had to answer to you because it's like, well, I'm his, so I'm his property, so you can't fuck with me because that's like fucking keying his car or whatever. You know what I mean? So they had some stroke. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think maybe that's like in a way why Vader was there, where he's kind of like, the Emperor's not trying to go to these meetings, so he's like, you go. You know what I mean? And
yeah, but
like,
even then, people are like, what's this dude doing?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
like you go play your sword fighting somewhere else,
right? It would be like you have a meeting of like all the generals of Rome, but then like Caesar's slave is there. You're like, well, he's still the fucking slave, but then you have to respect him, right?
The slave is speaking.
Yeah.
Like you said, we must pray on this event. Like what?
Right.
Like out of here, Mark Anthony's talking.
I know, it's like, aren't you just here to take notes or whatever? Like to them, it's funny, right? Because they're generals, but he's a slave, but he's also like the head guy slave.
But see, it's kind of like it's for them to, for them to find a Clone Wars. They're probably like, where'd this dude pop out from?
Right.
Like I don't remember Lord Vader in the Clone Wars. Like where the fuck did this dude come from? Where did the Emperor find this dude at?
Right.
That all of a sudden he's like the number 2 guy in the Empire. Like, what the fuck is this guy? He's not. He doesn't fight. Like people probably love Thrawn more than Vader.
Oh,
because they're like, this guy's actually was in the fucking Clone Wars.
Right.
Not knowing obviously that he's Anakin Skywalker.
Sure.
Obviously,
yeah.
General Skywalker is celebrated hero of the Clone Wars.
Right.
Obviously no one knows that.
Yeah.
Even Ray Stevenson's character. What does he say? What's his name? In Ahsoka.
Bail.
Well, even he goes right. Like even he goes. Everyone in the Jedi Order knew Anakin Skywalker, but few lived to see what he became.
Right.
So it's like shit. So for a lot of people, Anakin Skywalker died.
Right.
And then who the fuck is this dude?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden,
that
like you said, that has breathing problems.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck.
The last guy we had breathing problems was General Grievous. They're like, damn, why does fucking the Emperor hire all these guys?
Asthmatic.
Yeah,
come on.
Like, damn. Maybe it's the equal opportunity hiring he's working on there.
But yeah, I mean, so they get Kleya. Obviously she gets wounded. They take her and they're a little hesitant. Even Kleya knows that I can't go to Yavin.
Yeah,
like everyone, doesn't even trust me for shit.
Again, it's just so great, right? Though, Double A, because they fall into that. No one trusts the Punisher in Civil War. No one ever trusts Wolverine in the X-Men. You know what I mean? Like, for the most part, Batman's the Justice League member that no one really cares for or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to give this guy his flowers. You know what I mean? But for the most part, that's how it is, right? There's always the outsider. So Luthen and Kleya have been these kind of like. But they kill, they do these things. I'm like, yeah, but they're doing the things that are necessary. You know what I mean? Like they're, and where Andor comes in is that he knows this. Yeah. He's like the bridge. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't even bring up and throw back in, Bale's face and be like, hey man, those people you had set up were gonna kill her.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
no kidding. They didn't even bring that up at all. Like,
I would have. If I'm Andor, I like what he went off on them about Luthen. He's like, I'm not gonna stand here listening to y'all run him down. Yeah. I thought that was badass, but I would have thought that I would have been like, your guards were on their way to kill, Senator Mothma.
But he does say, I'm the one that Luthen sent to rescue Senator Mothma.
Yeah, which is in its own way a little bit like I put that shade on your ass. Yeah,
he sent me to rescue her.
Right. And that's he didn't want to, like, he was kind of like, man, I'm already like kind of done with you too, whatever, But again, I think when you're doing the things those necessary things, like Luthen was having to do, was kind of like, hey man, but there are the people that they just were like, they said they weren't gonna do anything for him anymore. They were like, well, fucking don't do, and they were still like, let me go do it. And then it's like, the end result.
Yeah.
The ends justify the means, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So totally. But yeah, good rescue. We're glad that we saw Kleya live, get to Yavin. She obviously talks with some other people.
And it's funny too, because even with her testimony, with
Mhm.
Cassian's testimony, they still don't believe that the Emperor can do something as drastic as building a Death Star, which
Right.
is crazy. I'm like, wow,
Right.
like you guys are really like, despite how bad they are, I don't think the Emperor is going to build anything like that. I'm like, really?
I'm like, at this point, isn't do y'all think anything is beyond his reach? Like, he's got absolute power. He's corrupting absolutely. Like,
and what's going to make you more fearful of this dude? Oh, let me build a weapon that can destroy planets.
yeah.
Like, what?
I've got
Okay.
this fucking space station that I can just, anytime that you backtalk, I will just put this into your orbit and be like, guess what? You know what I mean? So, and sadly, more weight to that too, right? It's like Bale will learn the hard way.
And that sucks too, because you know what? Jimmy Smits has done so much to make the character so likable. Benjamin Bratt did a whole lot to make the character so likable. And like that kind of just makes it feel even more like you're like, damn, like,
yeah,
Bell's gonna die too. Like he already knows his fate. Like Bell is gonna die.
Mhm. Yeah.
From the Obi-Wan series, seeing him in the Obi-Wan series and in Rogue One, the prequel series, and this.
But how
like,
much
damn.
deeper is it now, Double A, when Leia's like, no, they're a peaceful planet. They don't even have weapons. That you're more like man, like thinking about it kind of makes me choked up because I'm like, fuck.
And not just that, but knowing that
Fuck.
Bell fought
Yeah.
a long time to get to this moment, and he dies, by this fucking machine, by this Death Star.
Remember, Double A, he's like, it's time for you to go, and so it is.
Yeah.
I was like, classic George Lucas writing.
Yes.
I was like, okay.
But I do like his line when he tells him, "May the force be with you."
Yeah, that was cool. Which
When I popped,
I think to that point,
popped.
Andor hadn't been like, all right.
when he said that, I said, "Hell yeah!" Like real
Hell
loud. And my wife was like right there. She didn't flinch or anything. So
She's like, what's going on with him?
no,
again?
she didn't even say that.
He's
She was-
freaking out again.
I was just like, uh-oh. I was like, damn it! Like
That's why I watch in the living room alone, Double A, so I could just cry. by myself.
I was like Donnie Yen when she says, "May the force be with you." He's like,
yeah.
and he's like, finally.
Man, I am one with the force. The force is with me.
I was like, hell yeah.
So that's how that one wraps up, right? Double A, like we know we're heading into. Well, the
And
end
then
game,
that's just
right?
like I was like, fuck, like this already gonna be it. This is like the third episode. It's like fuck, And yeah, man, it's kind of wraps it up for a lot. Well, kind of leaves it like you thought a lot of the characters were gonna die.
Yeah.
And so it's like it was kind of cool that where in Rogue One you knew the characters were gonna die. That in this one, hey, some of them actually lived.
Yeah. It was nice.
Vel lived.
Yeah.
Wilmot lived. As far as we know, Kleya lives.
Yeah, Kleya lived. Yeah, which was great. I thought she was for certain cooked.
Me too,
I mean, hey,
so.
well, a couple weeks back, I mean, and again, guys, if you're not ready but a couple weeks back, you were like, do you think Bix is gonna die? And I was like, and I was like 100%. There's no way this chick
Man, and then I was so sure. I was like, man, they're gonna shoot Mon's stupid ass husband. They're gonna kill this dude. And
man, hey, who is the broad he was with?
They're saying that was the mother-in-law for the daughter. That's what someone said.
He was shacking up with the other guy's wife.
I guess so.
The mobster?
Maybe the mobster died somewhere along the way.
No, or maybe he doesn't know, and the mobster going, he's doing a Nicky Santoro.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Man, then like you said, what we said last week with Chris, he just like boozing and partying. And
So I was like, okay, so they probably just were like, nah, this dude is Empire. It's just his wife did this bullshit. So
I don't even, man. I mean, just like shacking up with her, like
I think that's
so
what people
dark,
said.
bro.
I mean, if anyone can like prove it, because I did remember seeing her. I was like, I just couldn't remember what episode.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you're
You
right.
think so? You
Yeah,
think
it's got to be in
mother-in-law?
that first arc at the wedding. I think that now that you said that, but I knew I recognized her, but I didn't know who she was. I was like, who is she? Now that you say that she's the mother-in-law, I'm like, damn, that's fucked up, man.
Yeah, so like that asshole just
That guy's such a bitch.
Yeah,
That guy's such a bitch.
yeah. So I was like, well,
Oh,
okay.
that,
He didn't.
I
he
better
didn't
hope
get,
that mobster's dead because if he finds out, he gonna get the.
No, he didn't get prison time. So I was like, okay.
No, but he might get the
He could be.
the cornfield grave
be.
dead, and the mob's gonna be
Could
like,
be.
oh, all right. They'll be like, strip him down. We're gonna beat this mother, bury him alive, bro. He was like, hey, I heard the little guy is fucking the Jew's wife. And I was like,
From Casino. That's from Casino.
from Casino. Yeah, I'm like, really, bro? You're doing her of all people? I'm like, you stupid. You know what? They should. Well, not that I want him to have a better ending, but I'm like, they could have just put him with like 2 prostitutes. You know what I mean? Like,
Man, just go all out, huh?
you know what I mean? I was like, well, clearly he was fucking up to no good.
Oh, let me see.
What we got here?
Connor says there's a deleted scene that gives more context to Mon's husband. Apparently, Davil Skolden owned the news network that Mon's speech was broadcast on.
Okay.
So Davil was apparently arrested because he was seen.
Oh, all right.
All right. And as a traitor like Mon, even though he knew nothing about the rebellion or Mon's plans.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, you know, they kind of make him look like he's sad, right? Like he's like, you know, reflecting
He's
on
probably like, because he probably doesn't have Mon's money anymore.
yeah, like
The
what he
influence.
lost or whatever. Or maybe the fact that he realized I'm like, you're on the sides of the pieces of shit. Like, bro, like
I don't
how do you-
think I don't think that.
I don't know.
think that went through
Hey,
his head.
that's why you need the booze though, so you can sleep at night when you know you're a real fucking scumbag.
I think he was like, oh shit, she was a very influential senator, and I don't have that anymore.
Or maybe now that's why he's shacking up with the wife for her money. He's like,
For
I
her
gotta
money.
keep myself. He's like a man whore. He's like
So parents shacks up with Davil's wife because both their spouses were either in prison or on.
damn.
I'm gonna say that dude probably got in prison.
Yeah.
I don't think he's on Yavin.
Yeah. No, I think he means Mon being on Yavin and then Davos being in prison.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay. Yeah.
Wow. So that's like you start shacking up with Tony Soprano's wife because Tony Soprano's in jail. But I'm like, it's still not a good look on you to be like fucking the mob boss's wife because when he get out
Oh, no.
or whatever.
And then, like you said, Partagas,
Man, I like to think the last thing that went before Partagas' head before that blaster was
what do you think about that other dude that was sent to arrest him? Where he was like, you hear the shots and he's just like,
oh no, he knew. He was
no, that's
like,
what I'm saying. Like he was like, nah, don't go in there yet.
can you imagine living to be an old man and this high-ranking official in the fucking empire?
But Krennic buried him, didn't he?
Right?
Right?
Did
That's
he?
kind of what he says, right? Like, I can't save you, Leo.
Oh well, yeah.
Right?
Well, he didn't want to either. I don't think.
I don't think he wanted to, but then he was just kind of like, if this goes to shit, I can't. You're kind of on your own.
Oh well, that's the thing about Krennic, right? Is Krennic is always gonna be like the first ass gonna get saved is my ass.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why he was like,
fuck
well,
y'all.
This better go well for both of us.
And it was like, nah, don't. He knew he was like, I ain't going to that meeting. Fuck that. It was like, let me.
And then we see our girl Dedra,
Yeah.
being in prison, the infamous prison that the Empire had set up, and
Hey, she's working on the Death Star too, the backup.
yeah, no shit, right? So I asked you, on message, on text message, I asked you, what did you think of Dedra's fate? Where you're like, she deserved it. I'm glad she lost everything. Fuck her. I was like, oh, okay.
Hey, when you
usually you have some heart for some of the
sympathy.
villains.
Nah, not her. Man, not after she was fucking talking to Luthen like that. I was like, you bitch. Man, when she just goes down like, oh, like I threw it all the way. Fucking Cyril got shot in the head and fucking Andor didn't even know who
Like
he
that
was.
was all going through her head at that point. I lost him. I lost my position. I'm here. I'm never gonna get back.
Like, the way she was like, we both work with people like this. They're the classic like ladder climbers that will step on anyone. She was disobeying the fucking Empire. That'd be like she's at the point where she's like, that'd be like fucking Hitler gives you a direct order and you're like, I'm gonna go ahead and do my own thing. I'm like, bitch, what do you think is gonna happen to your ass? Like she's lucky she's not fucking dead or being tortured or some shit right now. And I'm like, or maybe they did that first. I don't know, but I'm like, no. There's no. So I've told you before. There's some characters where I'm like, there's no redemption for you.
Yeah.
I will give almost anyone a second
I
chance.
know. That's all kind of surprising when you said
nah,
that.
Not this bitch. I'm like, it was almost too good for her. I was like, but you know what? Maybe we could use right here a little Andy Serkis appearance, and it'd been like, all right.
Oh man, I would have hated to see him there
With her.
Yeah, I kind of been like, oh damn it! Like he didn't even try to like
Damn.
escape.
Yeah. Try to swim.
I would have hate that. Yeah.
Fuck, I know. He was awesome, man.
But this is like a prison where you're fucked. This ain't Alcatraz. This ain't like a fucking, United States prison. This is like a prison where you're absolutely fucked.
You're a slave. You're essentially a slave. Welcome to slavery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're never gonna get out. She probably got a life sentence prison sentence,
And who do you think handed that down to? Because you think some.
Krennic probably like.
I was gonna say,
in the fucking.
Do you
prison.
think something like this? It doesn't even go as high as the Emperor. The Emperor never hears about this. This
Krennic
is like
probably like center
Krennic level, and then like you're
send her ass to prison for fucking being a traitor.
Double A, are Krennic and Tarkin the same rank?
No, Tarkin's supposed to be the
like
fucking top guy.
Okay.
Yes,
it's like
he controls all the other Moffs.
Okay,
he's the Grand Moff.
The Grand Moff. Okay,
and so everyone like listens to him. He's the only one that has an ear to the Emperor.
Because I know Krennic doesn't like him. Like they don't like each other. They hate each other.
No. Yeah.
Wow.
Which I mean, if you see, man, so much bad stuff comes from Krennic's commando. The rebellion was pretty much built under his whole watch. The Death Star plans get stolen under his watch. So I mean, Tarkin was not far off from thinking,
"Be careful,
you're an idiot.
Not to choke."
Yeah, he's like, "You're a fucking moron. Like everything bad that's happened to the Empire is because of you."
You're blinded by ambition. He was
Yeah.
blinded by ambition. All he wanted was to see that fucking Death Star built by Galen Erso.
Like this is my present. This is my trophy I give you to the Emperor.
Hey, you know what? Thanks, Luke. Thanks for blowing that shit up once, and then Lando got the other one. So, also too, how unoriginal is the fucking Empire, where all they can keep building is the same thing?
That's what I thought. With the same weakness, really?
Like
you built with the same fucking hole.
Well, they only had one set of plans. I guess they were like,
they're like, oh, that kid got lucky the last time. It won't happen again.
Hey, you know what? The day that they were supposed to block that shaft, that supervisor was off. They were like,
yeah,
got the day
man,
off.
it was layoffs.
Damn,
government layoffs.
They're like, hey, did we get that shaft sealed up from last time? They're like, yeah, I think it got done.
Yeah, well,
pass the buck.
He got fired. So
hey, but then what about Star Killer Base? Oh, I know we don't want to think about it.
I know, man. Another one? Like, really? Another one?
I'm like, do you have any other ideas? Like, anything else? Like, there can't be any more Kyber left. Y'all fucking used it all up. Luke blew the shit out of it. You know what I mean? And then fucking Lando blows up the other one. So
let's do it again.
They're like, we don't have any Kyber left. We're gonna use some of that mock Kyber here.
Yeah.
What else? We're in the third episode already, right?
It ran it really well, and then I guess the big surprise is the very end.
Yeah, so we get this excellent scene here. Mommy Bix, we love Mommy Bix, beautiful. We're glad that she's alive. I think none of us expected her to live. So we see her back in the fields, back where their little red robot is. So what's his name? B2 something. B2. Everyone loved him too. Everybody was endeared to that robot, which he did. He was a good little droid. He cared about Cassian and everyone or whatever, But yeah, people were like, man, there's Bix in the field. You know what I mean? She's alive. Yeah. She's well. She's we're happy about that. And then this scene, right, AA right here, where you can see, the big reveal where it's like, look at her. She looks like an angel. She's beautiful. And there she is with little Poe Dameron.
Man.
Oh, you love Oscar Isaac.
I do like Oscar Isaac. I don't like his character though.
I don't know. I read somewhere, someone told me I read something that they said, oh, if they had a kid, Bix and Andor roughly would be the age that Poe is by the time we get, which I think none of us want this to even be touching that.
Fuck no.
Sequel trilogy. I don't even know what to say about it. Because you know what? AA is right. I do try to find the good in things. And I'm like, I haven't watched them in a while. I own them because I love Star Wars. I don't watch them. They are there though. They can be watched, but they're man, that took a turn. We need to not talk about it anymore. Stick back with this. What did you think, AA, about this scene?
I was like, oh wow, he ended up having a baby. I was like, shit, that sucks though. I mean, she knew she was pregnant, and like Cassian went on not even thinking anything. He's just thinking, oh man, she left.
Yeah.
And not even knowing he could have had a family.
Yeah. And I saw somebody
because she believed that fucking force healer.
Yeah.
that he was something important to the rebellion. It's like, wow.
I saw somebody say too that they said, and we kind of talked about this with Chris a little bit last week, right? Where he was kind of like, yeah, when they kiss, and we're like, well, they don't, they just embrace.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody brought that up too, like in whatever threads, and they're saying they're like, what a great decision to just have them embrace and not kiss, because they go, we know who he's actually thinking about in that final moment. And to me, it reminded me of, did you ever watch Deep Impact?
Yeah.
Do you remember when like they're like, they know that there's something they can do? That's it. You know what I mean? So like at the end, Leone's there with her dad, and they just kind of embrace. I mean, like, because she's just like, she's afraid, and she's saying, I think she says, "Daddy," like she's like a little girl again, because it's like you're fucking scared, like you're about to die. But they don't run from the beach or anything; they're just there. You know, it's so like that. I mean, Rogue One is beautiful. Rogue One is like, it's pretty much a perfect movie. Yeah. You know what I mean? So not even a Star Wars movie. It's just a perfect movie. Like, that scene is really beautiful. And I remember when I first saw it, I thought that too. I was like, oh, I thought that there was romance. Why didn't they kiss? But then it was kind of more like, there's more. It's way more weighty now. Way more weighty now. That
for sure.
Yeah, that maybe even Jin is thinking about her dad. You know what I mean? Like, and
I think it was just like it's both of them.
Yeah, and you don't want to. You're not dying alone. Yeah, you know what I mean? Which is kind of beautiful. Also,
I think that's what it was. Honestly, that's what I thought it was. Was just
like hold me, like we're about to die. You know what I mean? So, like with Smokey tells, when he tells Craig, he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "I want to die." When they're in the back of that truck, he's like, "Man, get off me!" He's all crying. He's like, so yeah, man, guys. Andor is it's fucking amazing. I mean, it's a triumph. It's a triumph.
Blew everyone away. And like I said, I haven't really seen this many Star Wars fans kind of united probably since Rogue One. So
Double A, do you know how many people I've heard they go, man, they're like, man, I'm ready to collect these figures. Like I'm excited for Star Wars.
And that's what I mean. Like you write characters that you can just attach yourself to. Mm-hmm. And we're not everyone's forced down your throat. Like even Cassian wasn't really like a big in some of the episodes. Like there was a lot of episodes where he wasn't like even the main character.
In that first one in this arc, he doesn't come out at all.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so it was kind of great. So even Cassian didn't feel like he was forced down your throat.
Not at all.
So,
but he's so like Diego Luna is such a star. But
like this,
I fucking love
this series. Established Cassian and established Luthen as a character that you're always going to remember. Established, Mon Mothma.
Yep.
Probably more so than any other thing that happened. Kleya, man, everyone just fell in love with Kleya after the last 3 episodes. Belle, people like her. So I mean,
these are characters that total. Wait, which one is that?
The mom's cousin. The one that's training the redhead.
Oh yes,
She was like, make me believe Andor's story,
right?
And then she just pretty much tells Andor
where her lover gets killed.
Yeah, where she's like, they need to believe your story. Is it true? She didn't even fuck around with Andor. She's just like, is your story true?
I always think of her too from Game of Thrones, the House of Black and White. She's the one that's beating up my girl Arya. Where she's training.
Oh shit!
She's the one. Yeah.
Oh damn!
I'm pretty sure that's her. If I'm wrong,
I think you're right.
Yeah, but so I'm always like,
wow.
But then I'm like, oh yeah. No, she was great.
But I mean, they established more characters, like you said. That like now
Double A, help me out. Everyone keeps talking about when Parzigas kills himself. He's listening to somebody's.
Man, you see, I couldn't remember that too.
I couldn't remember that
listening to somebody's like.
Their
speech,
manifesto or whatever. Somebody's manifesto, Nif or Nir.
Yeah, some shit like that.
So I couldn't remember that. Is that from something earlier? If y'all can help me out or whatever too. But I was like, I gotta go back.
Man, I couldn't remember either.
But again, this is kind of just lends to what we've been saying, right? Like the show is so layered. Like there's so much like richness to it. Like it's like, damn, what I mean? It really is something that you can go back and appreciate different things at different times. I've yet to rewatch season 1. But this makes me want to go rewatch season 1. Like Double A said last week, Rogue One is a movie that I kind of like watch sparingly because it's so good. Like I don't want to overindulge. You know what I mean? So, but right after season 2, like I went right into it. I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to watch it. I didn't get to finish it because it was late and I had to go to work the next day. But I will most likely definitely finish it this weekend and be like, chef's kiss, man, because it is just fucking. That's just so good. All those things tied together. You know what I mean? Like I feel like anytime you want, you can throw on this probably last episode and go right into Rogue One, just the same way that you can throw on, Rogue One and go right into A New Hope. So I mean, and it's an interesting thought process too to go through where you're thinking, people again, the perfection of the original trilogy. Well, you can't perfect on what's already great, right? You try to make a sequel trilogy, prequel trilogy, better. But then you say, you know what we should do is just try to, how can we enrich what's already there? How can we enhance and prop up further the greatness that is the original trilogy? Well, boy, Andor season 2 and Rogue One do that magnificently. It's just really beautiful storytelling. All the credit in the world to Tony Gilroy, all the actors, Stellan Skarsgård, Diego Luna.
Yeah, so it's Karis Nemec. So he's from season 1, and he's a rebel who had been passed the classified intelligence regarding Stardust. Let me see.
Was he the one that was played by the guy that was from The Bear?
No,
that's now the thing. Okay.
No. Let me see. It said he would, like, his manifesto is just kind of spread across the galaxy.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to go back and check that out. I'll go back. Something great to check out.
It's actually.
Oh, here we go. Oh shit! Thank you, Connor. We appreciate it.
He's listening to Nemec's manifesto. It's a young guy who befriends Cassian on Out the Honey.
Yes.
In season 1, he was killed during the heist, but left his manifesto to Cassian.
Yes. I remember he's writing it at that
time. In episode 11 or 12 of season 1. Cassian listens to it before Marva's funeral.
Yes, this is good. This is what kind of gets Cassian thinking about like being a part of something.
But
good.
I guess it's already spread out throughout the galaxy.
Yeah.
And so
awesome.
So he's listening to it.
That's very poignant. Wow. Okay, that does. See, again, I love when something like that is like so layered. Like, there's so much layers. You know what I mean? Like we always talk about this, right? When people talk about like The Godfather, whatever, things like that. And again, I think it's a fair comparison. I mean, you could say that the Andor quote unquote trilogy, Andor season 1, Andor season 2, Rogue One is the Godfather trilogy of the Star Wars universe. It's the Nolan Batman trilogy of the Star Wars universe, you know what I mean, so to speak. So yeah, there's definitely that. I mean, like Double A was saying, if they end up doing some type of cut together that can be seen in theaters or whatever, I mean, like it makes me think about when was it TNT Double A that would show that Godfather Saga? Yes. They called it the Godfather Saga, and they kind of like intercut 1 and 2, which
so
is
they put like part 2. They showed all the De Niro parts first,
yeah,
and then they went into part 1.
So it's like you're watching it in order, almost,
and then they put part 1, and then they put part 2. But in part 2, you just see all the present parts. You don't see the
you don't. It doesn't go back and forth. Yeah. Which is like fucking neat to see. Like, damn,
kind of is.
I wonder if you can get that anywhere. Can you watch it?
Me and Will always try looking for it, and we can never find like any kind of like.
Was it TNT or was it USA?
It was USA.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I had recorded it on video. I had recorded it, but still, it's like that edition has never been available. We always assumed Francis Ford Coppola was always going to release that cut somewhere, but he never did.
He gives us fucking a new cut of The Godfather 3 before he gives us that.
Unless that's something that was not his control.
Wow.
Maybe that's something that the studio, I don't know, maybe
some guy at USA was like, you know what?
Well, not USA, but maybe something that whatever network, I forgot what Godfather, Paramount, I think it is. I think it's the home for Godfather.
Yeah.
Let someone there was just like, you know what? Let's put all the deleted scenes and the De Niro scenes. Let's put them in the first. Let's put this, Godfather 1 and then Godfather Part 2. So somebody got smart and put it on TV.
I'm telling you, somebody's going to do something like that with this Andor stuff.
I think they want to.
Yeah, they're going to end up intercutting it. And I've already seen some good, like, quick TikToks that are just kind of like, they've got like talking parts over and they've got like scenes cut in, and it's just like, damn, that's just badass. So, very cool stuff. Thank you, Connor, for the.
Thank you, Connor.
I knew that I was something, but I couldn't remember what, but now I remember the guy you're talking about. So yeah, I don't have a lot else. Though.
No,
Yeah,
that was it. I mean, it was 3 episodes that we got to see. So
if I could laud any more praise on it, by all means. If anyone else wants to laud any more praise on it, by all means. I had kind of hoped that Chris might have been watching it, would have jumped in with us again, and I didn't ask him beforehand to come because I know he's busy. Chris is in Canada, and he's like kind of like always running around with different pods and different shows and different things. So I didn't want to. Sometimes when you just offer it to someone, they will like make room for it, even though sacrifice sleep and all that. So, you know what I mean? But I'll love to catch his thoughts afterwards. We got to do a proper episode to have Chris on as a guest because he's fantastic. We don't always agree on things because he hates a lot of things that I think we like. But yeah, it's always good to have him. So.
Connor said I would really like a Rogue One director's cut if that's possible. There's a bunch of scenes that were never made into movie. I would love a remaster to see if some of those scenes can be
reintegrated. Yeah, no, that would be cool. I didn't realize that there was a lot of stuff on the cutting room.
I don't remember that either, honestly.
Not that it doesn't play perfectly as it is, but I mean, hey, a little bit more. It's never hurt anybody. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I always like too when there's like a director's cut and then like a theatrical cut. You can always watch the version you want.
If it's good,
yeah. I forget, you know, it's weird. The last couple of times I've been watching certain things, I'm watching something and I'm like, I never seen this scene. And I'm like, what version are we watching? I'm like,
sometimes that was always cool about the USA Network. Like they would always put the deleted scenes of Harry Potter in the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was kind of cool because I remember the first time I seen it, I'm like, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And I showed my brother and I was like, what the fuck is that? He goes, oh shit, they're deleted scenes.
That's
like sometimes USA would put the deleted scenes in their version of when they were showing it.
That's like, oh, cool. Wow. That's like a different cut.
It is. It really is.
Wow. I mean, I wonder who makes that call. That's fucking pretty cool.
I don't know, but whoever
Network
did that,
executive.
Yeah, I don't know.
All in all, guys, I mean, Andor.
I mean, people have seen it. People have loved it. Like I said, this is kind of the first time in a long while I've seen like a lot of Star Wars fans being like,
I agree.
This is great. Like I said, no review bombing whatsoever. I mean, almost all the damn episodes were like 9.5, 9.6. Like I hear The Last of Us is getting review bombed after Pedro Pascal passed.
I heard that too.
His character passed. So a lot of review bombing is going on.
I brought it up briefly on the Wednesday show that I do with the collecting guys that I contribute to, and I was like, hey girls, anyone wants to watch Last? Everyone's like, we heard it sucks, we're not watching it.
And it's crazy too because they said that is a big part of the game. Like everybody knew it, all the gamers knew it, and it's kind of like the Walking Dead. It's kind of like when it's kind of like that moment Negan bashes Glenn's head, but then for the people that didn't read the comics, it altered the course. So.
People were like, if you were going to do something different, this was the time to do something different.
Connor says the first teaser of Rogue One has a bunch of shots that never made the final cut because Gilroy was brought in to re-edit.
I do always remember that scene where in the trailer, as I always love that line. I was waiting for it in the movie, but when Jin says it, she's like, "We're rebels. I rebel." You know what I mean? So that's not in the movie. And it's interesting too because Chris mentioned last week that there was scenes of the Emperor, I guess, in some of the Rogue One original, the Andor season 2 original trailers, and I mean, obviously we never saw him. So
I don't remember that.
I'm wondering if that happened.
Connor said there was more scenes of Krennic on Scarif and more scenes of a younger Jin training with Saul.
Okay, I'd say that'd be cool to see. Their relationship isn't kind of like as fleshed out.
Maybe that's the only one that like Saul really like trust.
Jin. Yeah, but also he's batshit crazy. So it's
I know, but like he didn't trust anyone, but he trusts Jen. So I was like, oh, okay. Like he talks to her like straight,
right?
Like he's like like with everyone else, he's always like, "Are you here? Like, are you a traitor?" Like,
he makes him feel like kind of kill me. Yeah, like, what the fuck? I'm like
with her, he talks normal.
I mean, I think it's safe to say, guys, that Just Another Friday Night loved it. We loved Andor season 1. We covered it. You know what I mean? Like, again, there was, there's always hesitation or whatever. There's a little bit like, what's going on here? Hell, even in this season, the first couple episodes, that weird group or whatever, you know what I mean? We can always find a little something to be edited to tighten up a little bit, whatever. But it really wraps up perfectly because the last probably like 6 episodes straight are just magnificent. Like as like a triumph of Star Wars. You know what I mean? So it's not for kids, just for kids anymore, man. I mean, they've got serious stories, serious storytelling, serious acting, serious directing, serious writing. People have been talking about Emmys. People have saying, I mean,
That's
I hope,
not gonna happen.
well, I hope that it does. I hope the noms are there at least. Maybe some noms. Okay, Double A has no faith in the
because
big
it's
awards.
just like the Oscars. You know, it's like
I know.
You know, they
You're not wrong.
They go for these movies that made like 20 mil at the box office.
Yeah.
That nobody saw.
Right.
And they're like, no, this movie's great. This is like best picture of the year. What?
Yeah.
What about this other one that made like 500 million?
Right. Right. No doubt. No doubt.
Everybody saw.
So then they create like a new award that was called something else, and it's like the blockbusters always get that award.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's called, but either way, I mean, it would be nice to see some of the actors and some of the writers and the people that put a lot of effort in it, because also it looks fantastic. I mean, it looks Star Wars. The costumes are great. Yeah, Mon's costumes are great.
Yeah, like usually the Star Wars products get nominated for that shit.
Right.
You know,
yeah. Not Bixus and Kleya's costumes. Yeah. So there's so much good stuff in there. I mean, you know, I hope that it does get at the very least the noms, but if it could take a couple of awards, that would be fucking fantastic. Because the acting can't be denied, really, either. You know what I mean? Like
it will be.
Diego Luna's, Stellan Skarsgård.
It will be.
You know what I mean? But yeah, if they don't, then it's kind of like that's what they always do.
Yeah.
So they leave the world of sci-fi fantasy to us, I guess. So but we will heap praise upon it, Double A, right? It gets all the awards, all the stars, all the jalapenos. If we had a scale of things that measuring stuff would be, then we would. I will say this. Like I was saying, I would buy it, I would rewatch it. You know what I mean? So for me, that's it. Go ahead, Dylan.
Connor said, so far the only contenders for best drama are Severance season 2, which in my opinion is biggest competition, The Last of Us 2, The White Lotus season 3, and Squid Game season 3.
Did you do The White Lotus?
No.
Okay, I've been hearing good things about that one. I did do Severance. Severance is fantastic. So it's hard to not do that. And I have been enjoying The Last of Us, even though I'm behind one.
Yeah,
I've been enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's solid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But did I enjoy it as much as this?
Jeffrey Wright was in there.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah.
And apparently he's the video game actor too.
Oh.
He plays the same character from the game. So that lined up. They were like, oh yeah, we got
yeah.
I've been watching after every one of those episodes. I watched a little like making of, and I get a lot out of that because I feel like sometimes I'm like, what did I miss? And I'm like, oh, okay. Which you shouldn't need to watch something extra to understand the show.
Yeah,
whatever,
but sometimes you do. And
yeah.
I'm glad they do. Like that's what I always liked about Talking Dead.
Right.
I was like,
right.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, just like we're saying right now with the whole manifesto thing, whatever, I'm like, I needed to be a little bit refreshed because I didn't go back and watch, right before this. So yeah. Other than that, Double A, I don't have much else. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Connor, especially you with all the contributions. Thanks, anybody else that was watching or that may catch on the replay, we really appreciate you. Guys, don't forget to be on the lookout for our posts regarding Comic Palooza. Guys, Comic Palooza is coming. When is it again, Double A? What are the dates there? June. Hold on, let me see here. Let me bring up my my handy dandy little banner that I found here. Comic Palooza in Houston, June 20th to the 22nd. Hayden Christensen, Ming-Na Wen, John Cena,
Mark
Silvestri. Oh wow, Mark Silvestri is a great one on the comic book side. So there'll be plenty of awesome people to go check out, guys. If you're in the area or you're going to be in the area or you're thinking about going to a big con, I definitely think Comic Palooza is worth checking out. Double A and I have both been, not together, but in separate occasions, and had come out on the other side. You know what I mean? I thought that when we did our professional photo op with Amelia Clark, it was very organized, very, good in and out. She looked lovely. It's a great picture. We have it hanging in my living room, me and my dad and Jess with the Mother of Dragons. So very cool. Keep an eye out for our posts and stuff like that regarding that. Again, we're part of the podcasting. What is it? What did I call it? I forgot what it's called. But yeah, the Triple Ps. We're in there. So yeah. Anything else, Double A?
No.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, guys, have a great weekend. Don't forget something that we always like to say at the end of every episode. We'd like to remind you guys, if there's something that you want to do, a hope, a dream, something that you want to accomplish, rebellions are built on hope. So go out and do it, guys. Seize the day, right, Double A?
Yep.
Obviously, Luthen and Kleya and Andor and Bix and Mon, they all did seize the day and gave us probably the greatest rebellion in the history of cinema. So guys, do that yourselves, seize the day. And the other thing we'd like to remind you is what the great Captain Steve Rogers says during Endgame when he reminds the Avengers before they go back on the time heist that they must do whatever it takes, guys. So obviously our heroes tonight, I'm in need of all the heroes I can get, right? Luthen says. Our heroes definitely did whatever it took. So guys, seize the day, do whatever it takes. We are Just Another Friday Night, San Antonio and South Texas premier pop culture podcast with P Breaks live on Fridays. I'm CM Chuck.
I'm Double A.
And we'll catch you guys next week. Good night.